Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Division of Information Technology's weekly webinar series. I'm Lauren Niemeyer, the Web 2.0 specialist in the Learning Technologies group, and today we are joined by Lisa Sokolowski, the Instructional Facilities Classroom Support Coordinator. She'll be leading our discussion today on the top 5 things you may not know about your technology classroom. So feel free at any time to ask any questions, and you can type them right into the chat pod on the lower left-hand side, or you can raise your hand and hit the talk button to speak. So before we jump into the 5 things, Lisa, the first question many faculty members might have is, how do I even know if I have a technology classroom, or what does that mean?
That's a good question. It's actually pretty simple. If you walk in the classroom and there's a computer and a big black rack or a rack on a cart, you are in a technology classroom. If you walk into a room and it is just the podium and the classroom chairs, you are not in a technology classroom.
Okay, good to know. And if I'm not in one, how do I request to get put in a technology classroom for, say, my next semester class?
That's actually a great question. We get asked that a lot over in our Hornbeck support office. If you are not in a technology classroom and you want to be, you need to talk to your department scheduling person to try to get you scheduled into one. That's not something that we have any control over, so you need to go through scheduling. If there aren't any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to talk about is our dual boot computers. Right now, we have dual boot Mac Minis in Plant Sciences and in Hornbeck. They are dual boot Windows 7 and Mac OS. On both sides of the computer are the same basic programs. Of course, one side be Windows version and Mac version. So there will be some slight differences in some programs in particular. I think Clickers and Panopto are the two that come to mind, that the Mac version is not quite as robust as the Windows version of that program. So if you don't mind using the Windows version, you may be happier using that option.
Lisa, if I want to change sides during a class period, do I have to shut one side down totally, or can I, how does that work?
Also a good question. What we actually do get asked this, and since this is rather new, instructors aren't sure even that they're in a room with a Mac Mini. In the rooms with a Mac Mini, there is a sign posted on the rack or right near the rack in the room with a picture of what it looks like. I can actually bring that up in just a minute. And it shows the picture of a Windows computer and a picture of a Mac computer right next to each other. And underneath it, it has instructions of what to do to get from one side to the other. Briefly, from the Mac side, you just have to log off. It will then bring you back to the boot picker, that window with the 2 different pictures of Windows and Mac. And then you click on the picture of the OS you want. If you're in the Windows side and you want to get back to the boot picker, you actually have to restart the computer to get back to the boot picker. And that's partially because these are Mac computers. So their primary OS is, of course, the Mac OS.
If I use a certain program, is it possible to get that put on my classroom computer? How do I request that, I guess?
Good question. Let me bring up our website, and let me just show you a couple of quick things to answer a couple of these questions. Okay, so this is our main classrooms webpage. It's classrooms.umd.edu. It is the default homepage in all of our classrooms, technology classrooms. And a couple of things on this website that might come in handy. The first is to answer the question that was just asked. On the side here under Quick Links, there is a link to request software installation on an instructor PC. If piece of software you want to use is not standardly installed, you can request that we install it. You do need to have the media, or it needs to be a free download, and you fill out the form and give us all the information, and we will attempt to get it installed in a timely manner. It will help if you do give us a little bit of lead time and tell us exactly when you need it, and we will do the best we can to make sure it is installed. But like I said, it's not going to be an immediate thing, so just give us a little bit of lead time. And let's see, the other question that I was asked was about the boot picker. And there are some instructions on our Tech Classrooms website, which is Tech Classrooms. And we have lots of little links here about, let's see, one about our quick guide for the AV system, and there's also the guide for using the dual boot Mac Minis on this website as well. And it'll give you instructions on how to go from one side to the other. Okay, and if no one has any questions, we'll go back to our slides.
So I have another question for you. Are these, is it like two separate computers? So if I save something one day to my Mac side, can I access it on the Windows side, or how does that work?
Okay, this can be a little technical, but essentially it is two different computers. They're actually virtual computers. So if you save it on the Windows side, you can't then go to the Mac side and find the piece of software. The other thing to keep in mind is you really shouldn't be saving files on the classroom computer. Those machines do get re-imaged periodically. Usually it's only once a semester, but if there's a problem with the computer, there have been occurrences where to fix the problem, we'll need to re-image the computer. So it's best not to save onto the computer's classroom hard drive, but to save on a USB drive, or to save it into your ELMS course, and that way you have it no matter where you are because it's online. Another piece of hardware that I think a lot of people don't really understand or know what it is something called a document camera. These are in almost half of our rooms. This is a newer model, and it actually is basically similar to your old-fashioned overheads, but it's much more robust than that. It's not just the old-fashioned overhead film you're using with your overhead pens that we all used to love to teach with. You can actually show any kind of object, including a 3D object. You can put a book under here and show a page from a book. You can put your cell phone under there if you're trying to show an app. The head of it actually does rotate, so you can show something that's posted on the wall and project it. It has some nice basic features. It's actually very easy to use. And if you wanted some more information about that, would be something that would be good to contact us, and we can give you some training on it.
Oh, that's really cool. Where are they located? How do I know if one's in the classroom or not?
In those rooms where there already is one, it should be pretty obvious. It's going to be right up front by the computer, because it has to be connected to the computer and the projector to actually work. If you are in a room that does not have one, you don't see one, it is possible that we may be able to get you one. It's going to be on a case-by-case basis. And if you're interested, you're going to have to contact us, and we'll see what we can do.
Great.
Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is class capture. Some of you may have heard it called Panopto. Another term for this is lecture capture. This is also in about half of our rooms. I think about 145 of them or so have cameras installed. And actually all of our technology classrooms have this software installed. So if there is not a camera, you can always capture a PowerPoint and the computer's desktop. If there is a camera, you can also capture the instructor or the front part of the screen, or if students are doing speeches, you can capture the students' speeches. And if there's a camera, there's also, of course, audio. And it integrates with ELMS, so the video is actually being saved into your ELMS course. And we do have a process in place. If you're interested in using this or learning more about it, the link is on our slide here. You can go to this, and the first thing to do is fill out a registration form, and then someone will be contacting you, usually it's me, to talk to you about your next steps. You'll have to configure your ELMS course for use, and then we'll set up a very brief 15, 20-minute training. We also have some instructions on that website about how to use it in general, and there's some demo videos you can look at if you're interested.
That's great. And how do I know if my classroom has a video camera? Is it a built-in webcam, or is it on top of my computer, or what is it?
Good question. It's actually mounted in the back of the room. In some larger lecture halls, it's actually in the side of the room. And if you don't see a white object, like camera, mounted to the wall, you probably don't have capture-ready room. Some rooms have cameras and mics. Some rooms we've only gotten to installing mics, and these are actually hanging from the ceiling. The other easier way is actually to go back to our website. Let me get that back up. And we have a PDF that lists all the rooms on campus and whether or not they have cameras or mics or both. Let me just show you where that is. Okay, so back to our classroom's website, and go back to the side over here, and you have class capture. And this will take you to our main page for class capture. And then there are links for first users, experienced users, and our list of capture-ready classrooms. This is also where you can schedule your training, and there's some background information as well. So let me just show you the page with first-time users. There's a link here for registering. If you don't already have an ELMS space, there's instructions on how to do that. After you've filled out your registration, we'll be contacting you and letting you know you can then go ahead and configure your ELMS. I will send you instructions on how to do it, or we can do it in person when we schedule our training. There are also instructions on how to do that here, posted on the website. In the training, I go over how to do a recording. Once again, we have that documented here. In case you need a refresher, you want to look over it beforehand. And if we go back, you'll see that we have a list of capture-ready classrooms also in that list. So what you see here is on the right side, it says capture, ceiling mics, and camera. For a complete install, you want to find a room that has a 1 in both of those columns. And then you know you have a complete capture-ready room. Otherwise, it would be a matter of just capturing the classroom screen and the PowerPoint. Okay, if there aren't any questions, we're going to move on to the next thing. I know a lot of instructors prefer to use their own computer instead of the classroom computer, so we do have a setup in all of our technology classrooms to connect your laptop.
Lisa, for the hooking up of the laptop, do I need to, once I hook it up, do I need to do anything, or will it automatically recognize my computer?
That is also a common support question we get in Hornbeck. If you're using a Windows computer, Windows laptop, usually you need to connect it and then you need to do a key combination. It's a function and like an F7, F8. It varies a little bit by model. You'll see a button on the top of your screen, on your keyboard, that has a picture of a monitor or 2 little monitors, and that'll be the one you need to do. And usually that's a little toggle where you hit function and that button, and it toggles between just your laptop screen, the auxiliary screen, or both screens at the same time. And if you're having trouble with that, you're more than welcome to contact the Hornbeck Classroom support, and they can walk you through that over the phone. And if you didn't know, and I'll get to this at the end again, but it's 301-314-8522, and we have that staffed from 7:30 in the morning until 10 at night, Monday through Thursday, until 5 or 6 on Friday. Also, if you have a Mac, you can also use that in the classrooms. You will need an adapter. If you don't have your own, we do have a supply of various adapters, and you can call the Hornbeck number or come by and see if we have one that will work for you, and you can sign it out to use. And if you're something you use regularly, you're probably going to want to end up buying one eventually, but to try it out, you're more than welcome to come borrow one of ours.
If my classroom has 2 projector screens, can I use one to display the classroom computer and one to display my laptop?
Good question. That actually goes toward our X-Panel AV control system. And if you've used any of our technology classrooms, you'll be familiar with this. Is a thing that pops up when you first log in that has a button for simplified, a button for manual mode. In most cases, you're going to want to use simplified mode. That will turn the projector or projectors on and bring down the screen. And then you need to pick a source. And once you've picked a source, in the rooms with only one projector, it will be projected automatically. In rooms where there are 2 projectors, on the bottom of that X-Panel screen are actually buttons that say send to, and it's left projector and right projector. So you can actually send different sources to each projector screen in rooms with 2 projectors.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, the next thing we have is clickers, and we have this also in all of our technology classrooms.
And the University of Maryland, we use Turning Technology software as the support audience response system. You may not know, but in all the technology classrooms, the Turning Technology software is loaded on every computer, as well as a receiver is installed. The version on the classroom computers is Turning Point for Windows. If you have a Mac, then you have to hook up your own laptop and use what is called Turning Point Anywhere, which is the Mac version of software, which is available for download on our website listed here, clickers.umd.edu, and you can also download a copy of the Turning Point for Windows version as well onto your own personal laptop. You may be wondering if clickers, the actual physical clickers, are also located in the classrooms. No, they're not. That is for the students. They're responsible for purchasing their own clicker or response licenses, which allow them to use their their iPhone or their laptop as devices to response. If you plan on, and so to get those, you can add those to your bookstore list, and that's how they would get to purchase those. If you plan on just using clickers once or twice and not for grading purposes, like you're not connecting it to your ELMS course, or to try see if you'd for the next semester, then you can rent out a loaner set from Hornbeck for a short term. I believe it's 1 month, and you can also get your own receiver kit that comes with one clicker if you want to test it out on your own personal computer. You can request these from Hornbeck as well. Lisa, what is the process for a faculty member who wants to do this? Do they call a certain number? Or?
They can actually either just call the Hornbeck number, one, to verify that we have a set of sufficient size available for when they want to use it. They will have to come by the Hornbeck office to pick it up. They are for short-term use. We have sets from about 20 clickers up to 40. For a larger class, we can check out more than one set at a time. The only thing is we do only do it for short-term use, a month tops, because we do have a limited number. We want to make sure that the most number of people get to use them. And it's pretty simple. Just come by and we'll sign them up to you.
Great. Yes, and we offer full training workshops on clickers during winter break and also during summer break. So if you're interested in getting a more in-depth training, you can sign up for those. Also, all of our training materials for clickers are located on this website listed here. If you'd like a private training, then if you email the clickers@umd.edu, you can set that up very easily. And yeah, they're a great way for instant feedback or quick comprehension check. There's many excellent uses, so we'd be happy to work with you to see the best way to work in your class.
Okay, those are the main topics. Just a couple of quick reminders, things in the classroom and some resources. You should always be logging off of the classroom computer. Just remember that anyone can come up to the computer. The rooms are not locked during the day especially. And anyone, if you don't log off, can log in, can walk up and start using the computer if you have not logged out. So that is a security thing. You should definitely be logging out of the computer. And our AV control system, you should be shutting it down. There are two options for shutdown. One is end of day and one is end of class. The rule of thumb is if somebody is waiting to use the room, then you need to do end of class because that will not turn the projector off, since projectors do have about a 10-minute cool down cycle. In that period of time, you can't do anything. You need to wait till it cools down. So you don't want to have the next instructor mad at you.
Lisa, we lost you. We're no longer hearing you.
Okay, seems like my little headset decided to stop working. It apparently knew we were close to the end. So what I was trying to say was that if it's end of day, if someone is waiting to get into the room, you want to pick end of day because you don't want the next instructor mad at you trying to get in and to wait for the projector to cool down so they can turn it back on. If there's no one waiting to get into your room, then you should pick end of class because that allows the projector to shut off and cool down and save some of the bulb life for the projector. Resources. I already showed you the room's website. There are lots of good resources on there for you. And if you have a problem in a classroom, it's not an immediate thing. You can email classrooms@umd.edu. If you have a more immediate issue, you need to call the Hornbeck Classroom Support Office. Number there is 301-314-8522, and that number is on that main classrooms.umd.edu website on the top. There are also some buildings that have local support in them, but if you call that main Hornbeck number, they can direct you to the nearest support office, and they also maybe will help you immediately on the phone, so you should start with them. And that number should also be posted in the classrooms. That is all I have. I believe that Lauren has a little more to add.
Does anybody have any questions for Lisa? Okay, well, if not, I guess we'll start to wrap it up. On one final note, while we have you here today, we'd like to remind everyone to register for our 6th annual Innovations in Teaching and Learning Conference. It's co-hosted by the Division of Information Technology and our counterparts at the Center for Teaching Excellence. And it's coming up on Thursday and Friday, April 26th and 27th. If you go to the website listed here, you'll be able to view the program. We have a really, really great lineup this year with faculty, all disciplines across the entire university. So it's going to be a great time. So I highly suggest everyone register. So thank you, Lisa, very much. And thank you, our audience today. We look forward to seeing you next week if you want to learn a little bit more about Google Apps in the classroom. So signing off. We'll see you then. Have a great day.